This video is my pretty little baby. Caress her and get your share of enjoyment as if it were a movie. Now the movie unfolds. In a small, picturesque town nestled between rolling hills and quiet lakes, a couple named Sarah and Jake had just begun their married life. They moved into a cozy cottage on the outskirts, surrounded by rustic farmland and a handful of friendly neighbors. Sarah, a small town girl with a deep love for animals, especially her family's dog, Toby, had lived in the village all her life. Jake, on the other hand, had grown up in the city and wasn't exactly fond of animals, especially dogs. He loved Sarah dearly, but the idea of pets was a boundary he wasn't willing to cross. The arrival of Toby one crisp autumn afternoon, Sarah's parents asked if she could watch Toby for a few days while they took a short trip. Jake hesitated but reluctantly agreed, knowing it would make Sarah happy. So, Toby, a fluffy, brown Labrador with endless energy, came into their lives for what was supposed to be a short stay. But as the days went by, it became clear to Jake that Sarah cherished every moment spent with Toby. She took him on long walks, played fetch in the yard, and often shared laughter-filled moments with him. Jake, meanwhile, felt increasingly like an outsider in his own home. Tensions rise as Toby's stay extended, so did Jake's discomfort. He found dog fur everywhere, the scent of dog treats in the kitchen, and a constant, cheerful barking that made him grit his teeth. More than once, Jake tried to bring up the topic with Sarah, but she would brush it off, convinced he'd eventually warm up to Toby. One evening, after another long day of work, Jake returned home to find Toby sprawled on their bed. "Sarah, I can't do this anymore," he said, visibly frustrated. "I married you, not your family's dog." Sarah's smile faded as she realized he was serious. She tried to reason with him, explaining how important Toby was to her and how she couldn't bear to part with him. But Jake, tired and feeling neglected, snapped, "It's me or the dog." Shocked, Sarah looked at him with tear-filled eyes. She felt torn, and a cold silence settled between them that night, creating a distance they'd never felt before. The attempt to find middle ground the following days were filled with tense conversations and awkward silences. Jake was determined to stick to his decision, while Sarah tried to find a way to keep both Toby and her marriage. Desperate, she proposed they keep Toby in an outside shed with a warm bed, away from the main house. But Jake argued that it was still too close. He'd grown up without pets and couldn't understand the bond Sarah had with Toby. Each attempt at compromise only seemed to deepen the rift. A turning point one rainy evening, Sarah went to her parents' house alone to think. She found herself opening up to her mother about the strain Toby had placed on her marriage. Her mother, wise and empathetic, listened and then gave her a gentle reminder. "Marriage is about compromise, Sarah. But it's also about understanding and respect. Maybe Jake needs time to understand why Toby matters so much to you." This struck a chord in Sarah, and she resolved to have a heartfelt conversation with Jake that night. When she returned home, she found Jake waiting in the living room, a worried look in his eyes. He admitted he missed her that night and that maybe he'd been too rigid. Sarah, in turn, expressed her feelings about Toby, her connection to her childhood memories, and the joy the dog brought into her life. They both realized that neither was entirely right or wrong. They were simply coming from different worlds, with different expectations and values. After a long, honest talk, they both agreed on a new approach. Jake would accompany Sarah to her parents' house every other week so she could spend time with Toby without bringing him to their home. It wasn't an ideal solution for either of them, but it was a step toward meeting each other halfway. Building a new routine as the weeks went by, this new arrangement brought a sense of balance to their lives. Sarah looked forward to her visits with Toby, while Jake respected her time with the dog. Gradually, he began to see the joy it brought her. On occasion, he would even join her in playing fetch, albeit from a distance, watching as Sarah and Toby laughed and ran around in the yard. This mutual respect softened their differences and allowed them to reconnect. An unexpected change of heart one day, during a visit, Sarah sprained her ankle while walking Toby. Jake, seeing her struggle, rushed to her side, helping her back to her parents' house. For the first time, he noticed the way Toby stayed by Sarah's side, licking her hand and keeping her calm. In that moment, something shifted within Jake. Toby wasn't just a dog anymore, he was family. Over time, Jake's heart began to soften. He started petting Toby and even volunteered to take him on short walks with Sarah. This slow change surprised them both, and they felt closer than ever, with Jake making an effort to bridge the gap between them. Finding harmony eventually, they found a new balance in their lives. Jake still wasn't the biggest fan of dogs, but he respected Toby and understood why he was so important to Sarah. They even joked about it, with Jake saying, "I may not like Toby, but I do love you," and in response, Sarah would smile, knowing they'd grown through this challenge together. In the end, the couple learned that love wasn't about one person changing for the other but about growing together, accepting differences, and finding ways to make each other happy. For Sarah and Jake, Toby became a symbol of the love they shared, a reminder that true companionship meant navigating life's challenges hand in hand. Their marriage grew stronger with each shared compromise, and they found peace and joy in their little cottage, nestled in the quiet beauty of their village town. As autumn turned to winter, Sarah and Jake often laughed about those early days with Toby, and they both knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they'd be ready to face them together. Did you like my pretty little baby? Was the video entertaining like a movie? Then please share, like, and comment on the video. Also subscribe to my channel now. Thanks a lot. Bye till I come with the next video, baby.